Welcome back to Proxy, everybody, and today we're going to be talking about a Fate Dice combo that will make your opponents absolutely weep. Now, I know a lot of you guys know what Fate Dice do. You know, you can change a damage dice to a 6, you can ensure a hit on Overwatch, etc., etc. But there's actually a combination that exists within the Eldar Index that you can use to push 2 high-powered Brightland shots into an enemy heavy, not having to hit a single time or having to wound. It's absolutely insane. And it's so insane, in fact, that the opponents I was playing against called me out on it. And I had to show them in detail how it worked. So I'm sure some of you who have explored the index as thoroughly as I have probably already know about this combo, but for those of you who don't, sit back and enjoy. All right, so what are we going to be talking about specifically in this video? So we're going to be going over the units needed for the combo and their specific loadouts because they do need to be equipped with certain things for this to work. We're going to be talking about an explanation of how the combo actually works. And lastly, the combo's applications and, of course, its usefulness. All right, so as some of you guys may or may not know, the units needed for this combo are, of course, the Wraithlord with 2 Bright Lances, the Ghostglaive and the Flamers. The Ghostglaive and the Flamers are just extra. You really aren't going to use those that much. Of course, you know, you're just going to have them on there anyways. The 2 Bright Lances is really what we need for us to pull off this combination. We're also going to need a Spirit Seer with Fate's Messenger, which will cost about 80 points. So in total, it's going to cost 240 points for the combo. So it is a little bit expensive, but it is well worth it. All right, so how does the combo actually work, right? Because Spirit Seer and Wraithlord, you know, some of you are kind of starting to connect the dots here, but how does it actually work in a game? So the Spirit Seer joins a Wraithlord and gives it lethal hits on its attacks. So that's the first thing that it gives. And normally lethal hits on single shot weapons like Bright Lances aren't really worth it because you're not going to roll a lot of 6s, right? However, keep in mind that you do have Fate's Messenger and you do have access to Fate Dice. So the lethal hits obviously mean 6s to hit auto wound. Fate's Messenger can change a hit, wound, or saving throw to a 6 once per turn after you roll. So you roll first, and then if it's, you know, obviously not a 6 on the first roll, then you can change it to a 6. Then, on top of that, Strands of Fate with Unparalleled Foresight allows you to sub in a 6 for a single dice as well and can be used after you roll the first time. Because you have access to that reroll, you can roll the dice. If it doesn't come up a 6, you can sub in a Fate dice for it. So that guarantees that you will always have 2 6s as long as you have a Fate dice of a 6 in your pool or you have a Farseer nearby. So at this point, simply roll both Bright Lances, replace one with a 6 for Fate's Messenger, and if you don't get a natural 6, sub the other dice for a 6 with a Fate dice. Of course, if you get a natural 6, you can save the Fate dice for later. This ability still works. The 2 lethal hits will auto-wound and go straight into saves at AP -3, giving you a decent chance to pretty much almost kill most tough targets with 2d6 plus 4 damage. So just for you math hammer guys out there, 2d6 plus 4 is 11 on average, so, you know, you're getting pretty close to killing most wound 12 targets if they fail their invuls or armor. Which, if you really just take a look and consider it, for 240 points on something like an Overwatch or just your regular shooting, that's pretty powerful. You basically have something that can run around the table, shooting at whatever it wants, and dealing 11 damage per turn to any tough target. As long as, again, your opponent fails or saves, which they could always make that 5+, 6+, right? So there is a chance they will make that, but again, that could be said of any weapon in our army. You know, usually vehicles are going to get a 6+ or 5+ save against our anti-large weapons. All right, so I know what some of you guys are thinking right now, right? Well, yeah, that's good in theory, but what are its actual applications in game? How can it be used effectively, right? So basically, you can use this to safely ignore modifiers to hit and wound. And a lot of armies have these in their stratagems and their different abilities, right, to either give you -1 to hit or -1 to wound, and sometimes both. You know, some armies have access to multiple different types of stratagems like that they can choose from. So being able to safely ignore those modifiers and just hit and wound automatically, going straight into damage, is pretty powerful. And again, you could always roll the dice first to see if you get that natural 6 anyway before you change them and use your resources. Overwatch will also hit twice as hard as normal, because you can only guarantee normally that one Bright Lance is going to hit. Like, for example, if you have a Warwalker overwatching, you can use that Fate dice, but you're only going to be able to reliably hit with one. Maybe once per game you can get that second hit. Who knows? But the good thing about this is these also auto-wound. So yeah, again, usually with a reroll, this is not a big deal, because we're wounding on 3s with a reroll. Most likely we're going to get that wound. But I'm telling you, dice gods be damned or be praised. I've had chances and opportunities where I've failed on a 3+ reroll. Actually, it nearly happens once every game to me at some point. So being able to just auto wound is a pretty big deal. And lastly, this is a little bit controversial, and in my own gaming group, this has been a bit of a controversy as well. And a few people in my gaming group are not very happy about this interaction, but because Phantasm works on infantry units, and because the Spirit Seer gives the infantry keyword to the Wraith Lord, you can actually target a Wraith Lord with a Spirit Seer with Phantasm because of it. Now again, I've not found anything in the core rules or the rules commentary or anything like that that disproves this. But if you guys know of something that I'm not seeing, please let me know in the comments. I would like to know the justification as to why I can't target a Spirit Seer and a Wraith Lord together with Phantasm. As, of course, they do have the infantry keyword, so, obviously Phantasm can now only target infantry units. They typically are an infantry unit once they're joined together, so you should be able to use it on them, but if not, let me know where I can find that. Okay, so are there any downsides of this combination? Because as of now, it seems pretty powerful, right? You're basically getting 2 auto hits, 2 auto wounds, and just basically straight damage after your opponent tries to make their saves. Well, it does make the Wraith Lord vulnerable to anti-infantry. Just like it can be targeted with Phantasm, it also means units in infantry unit. So, poison weapons all of a sudden work on Wraith Lords. So Dark Eldar, with their splinter rifles and stuff, can just rip this unit apart. And that goes for anything with the anti-infantry keyword. The Spirit Seer can also be sniped by precision to make sure that, he's basically dead, so you're not getting the lethal hits anymore, and you're certainly not getting the infantry keyword anymore. So that is a weakness. Make sure he is out of line of sight and safely tucked away. Because just keep in mind, if he dies, the Wraith Lord is still good on his own. He still has the 2 Bright Lances, of course, the Flamers and the Ghostglaive. He can still do some stuff, but he's not going to be nearly as effective for the points. It's also a 240 point combo, which, while it is powerful, is pretty expensive and will draw attention. Make sure to use this to your advantage with some sweet Overwatch. So enemy units are going to come into your line of sight often, because they're really going to need to be able to draw line of sight to your Wraith Lord and kill it, right? Because the Wraith Lord is going to be able to, on his own, do a lot of heavy lifting for your anti-large. If he's alive for 4 turns or 5 turns, he's going to do some significant damage to your opponent's army. So you better believe a good player will want to wipe this combo off the face of the earth as quickly as possible, which means position your Wraith Lord well so that you can get a lot of Overwatches. Yeah, you might kill my Wraith Lord, but I'm going to kill something before it goes down. So in conclusion, this combo is absolutely brutal and guaranteed to generate some salt from your opponent. Again, like I said in the beginning of this video, the 2 players that I played with this combination rules checked me on both of the things that I was doing, right? They rules checked me on the Fate's Messenger combo, and they also rules checked me on the Phantasm. And both times, they couldn't find anything that negated what I was saying or doing. And, through explanation, they had to just resign to, yes, actually, okay, this is what's happening. This is the Aeldari, right? And I mean, this is this is really funny because a lot of players complain about these kind of things. But in all seriousness, is this combination better than just running 2 separate Warwalkers? I don't know if it is, but I can tell you one thing. It is really fun. And it's absolutely hilarious to see people's faces when they realize that there's basically a 100% chance of you hitting and wounding with both Bright Lances every single turn. Now, I'm not going to lie, right? I can understand why some people are, really anti-Fate dice and anti-Aeldari and stuff like that. But the reality is that on average dice, you should be able to hit both times and wound both times anyway. Maybe not with a Wraith Lord, but if you're doing something like a Warwalker or something like that, on average dice, you should be able to wound, and hit fairly reliably. It's just not 100% guaranteed, right? So I think that's why this combo is really good. Now, obviously, like I said, it does have its downsides, and if your opponent knows its downsides, they can kind of play that to their advantage. But it is a very strong combination, if a little bit expensive. Now, I think as of now, it is a strong combination, but a lot of players out there will, again, probably stick to the tried and true Wraithguard. But Wraithguard may be nerfed, guys. Wraithguard coming in January, we're expecting to see them nerfed in some way, and this could really leave us a lot of room for other possible combinations, perhaps even this one, and we may even see this combination appear in competitive play depending on how other units get affected. Especially for some reason, by the off chance, if we see Unparalleled Foresight get nerfed in January. That's right, our detachment rule, if that gets nerfed, if it's changed in any way, this combination is going to be gold, because they're probably not going to change the cost of much things in that case with Bright Lances. Wraith Lords are probably going to stay the same. The Spirit Seer is probably going to stay the same. And this will be value city at that point, because, your single Warwalkers, your single Hornets and things like that are not going to punch as hard without as many rerolls. And when that happens, I think you're going to see this combination come into its own when people realize just how good it can be for 240 points. But who knows, right? Time will tell if this ever sees competitive play, but I will say this. There is something to be said about being able to guarantee 2 hits and 2 wounds with an anti-large platform like the Wraith Lord with Bright Lances, and not for nothing. But the Wraith Lord also is good in combat, unlike Warwalkers and Hornets. So if you need something to storm an objective, your Warwalkers aren't really going to be able to do it that well. A Wraith Lord with a Spirit Seer hitting on 3+ with lethal hits might just be able to win you the game when a Warwalker just simply couldn't. And before I end this video, I do want to give a quick shout out and credit to Dead of Night. He's a member of the channel, and we've had a few conversations on Discord and stuff where we're just kind of talking about different combinations, and this combination came up in our conversation and we had a good laugh about it. I tried it a couple days later and it was so funny that I just had to do a video on it because of it. And I have to say, it just had me laughing for hours. Just, my opponent's face, looking up the rules with my opponent, my opponent's, kind of resignation at the end of it, like, okay, well, the Eldar can do this too now, was just absolutely classic. I enjoyed every second of it. And after a little bit of time had passed, my opponents had a good laugh about it too, once I, explained the combination to them and how it works and stuff like that. So all around, a great combination, loads of fun. If you guys, have a Spirit Seer, have a Wraith Lord in your arsenal, definitely try this one out. It's absolutely worth it. All right, everybody, that is going to be it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Thank you to all my patrons and supporters who have supported the channel over the last year. Your help has greatly improved the channel and helped to grow significantly. If you do want to join the channel's Patreon and help support the channel, free trials are activated, which means you get permanent access to our Discord community for free and can have conversations with me and other members of the Discord who are all really helpful and experienced players. I'm also an Amazon affiliate and have a channel store page, so if you want to grab some discounted Eldar miniatures on Amazon or some, Eldar-inspired apparel on my channel store page, I will leave those links in the description as well. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for today. I know it was kind of a short video, but I have another one coming soon covering Warlocks, so stay tuned for that, and have a good one, everybody. Peace out. See you guys later.